Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining us. What we've seen in the past few days happening in Israel and Palestine, it is absolutely heading toward World War III. And this is not hyperbole. This is not simply blowing smoke. I will show you, stay with the video, that this is the direction we're heading. And I'll be honest with you, if it doesn't head this way, I'm going to be very surprised. But in the meantime, I want to kind of mention, as preppers, what we have to do to prepare for this and things that are happening right now in both of those countries, by the way, that's going to show that it's going to be very bad. Let's not even talk about the invasion, the onslaught of the civilians not carrying firearms. That's obviously the first thing we need to think about too. Okay, but beyond that, that's not the big purpose of this video. In Palestine, they have no food and they have no water. The water's been cut off and all aid going into the country has been cut off. And I mean, rightly so, mind you. I don't want any civilians to not have food and water, but they've been taking the food and water and they've been taking the plumbing supplies and making rockets. And they've literally, for the last 2 years, they admitted this, 100% admitted this, that they've been taking all these supplies and turning them into weapons. And they've been preparing for this invasion for 2 years, obviously keeping it very quiet to make that happen. But not having food and water, it's interesting how everybody always talks about Israel as the one going off on Palestine, but Israel is one that's been providing the food and water for free, continuously giving care and helping them out. And this is, well, anyway, we're not getting into the politics of that because don't get me started. But what we're seeing there in Palestine, that's in itself should make you very much think about what's going to be happening to us, especially if we go against the system. No food and water. Their hospitals are overrun. It's complete destruction. And a lot of times they're trying to get out of the country. Granted, Hamas is holding them so they can't leave. They love using them as shields. So that basically if something gets blown up, they'll say, look, you killed the civilians because they were holding the civilians there. But nevertheless, Egypt, which should be an ally of Palestine, said, nope, guys, you're not coming over in here. And so they've been blocked. Okay, all of that's one thing. But because of war, because the sheer amount of people volunteering to step up in Israeli Defense Force, the grocery stores in Israel, we have lots of friends there, are practically speaking bare. Food off the shelves, gone. There's nothing left for them. So a lesson we need to have for being preppers is, obviously, without even saying any more about this, we need to stock up in a lot of food and water and other things too, clearly. But I know this is preaching to the choir. I know as I'm saying this to you, you're like, yeah, obviously we need to stock up on food and water. But more so, you need to let friends and family know about this. I know you don't want to talk about being preppers, and I'm not saying you have to have a lot of stuff stockpiled, but put a bug in their ear and say, look what's happening there. As we see more and more turmoil in the United States, we could end up like Israel. And once things do happen, you know that the grocery stores have a just-in-time method where literally things go on the shelves, just in time in 3 days, they come back off again. And so when people panic, that's why grocery stores empty. It's not the preppers who do it. It's the hoarders, the ones who don't prepare are the ones that cause that problems. Okay, that's the first half of this video. And I'm preaching to the choir, right? You guys know to prep. That's why you're watching Goshen Prepping. The second half of the video, I want you to understand the direction we're heading. Because it's not simply just Hamas. It's not simply the Palestine Authority, as you call it, that wants to eliminate Israel off the map. We're not talking about, we want you guys to leave. No, we want to nuke you so you don't exist ever again. That is their intentions. By the way, this is not just a Jewish thing. This is certainly a Christian thing. This is an American thing. They hate America and they hate Christianity just as much as they hate Jewish people. Keep that in mind. And if they had their way, if they had the right type of weaponry, that would be their ultimate goal, is to wipe us off the map. You need to understand this. This is not a simply, oh, you know what, they're being held in this country and we need apartheid or whatever. That's not what it is at all. It is a sheer hatred for us. Keep that in mind. There I am, getting political again. Okay, but the point is this. Understand, Hamas did not do this alone per se. It may have been Hamas that actually went across the border into Israel. And from all indications, it looks like it was. But absolute ties have been made between Hamas and Iran. Iran funded this. Iran helped plan this. And they actually gave them the green light to do this. And Iran has made no qualms. We want to destroy Israel. We want to nuke it and make it disappear. And we want to make America disappear as well. This is why right now we're at a heightened state of alert. As this video is coming out, we haven't seen a whole lot as far as the call for them to uprise in America and cause problems. We haven't seen that. Hopefully we won't see it at all. But it's not simply just among synagogues, which of course they're all in high alert, but Christian places too, churches. They're also saying churches, you need to be in high alert. Public places, you need to be in high alert, because it's not simply just a Jewish thing. It's anybody who doesn't subscribe to their particular way of life thing. I'm not saying all Muslims are like this, by the way. I have some really good Muslim friends, and they are absolutely fine with all of us. They integrate. Well, I find, unfortunately, that's not always the case. Clearly, that's not always the case. Okay, so how could this go, and why are we in trouble here in the United States? This is the progression that I'm afraid this is going to take. We've already sent 2 carriers to the region. One's already there, and another one's on its way. These carrier groups, by the way, are not simply just a carrier, but numerous ships along with it, not to mention arsenals of weaponry, the most modern jets, nuclear weapons on board these carriers as well, obviously. This is nothing to mess with. You don't want to mess with these carriers. And in the United States, we have 11 of these around the world at any time, and 2 of them are right there. Again, one is on its way. And if things continue to get bad, and worse in which they are, and Iran literally comes into direct action play on this, that is the reason those carriers are there, by the way. The United States have made it clear that Israel, you can handle this when it comes to Palestine, you can handle this when it comes to Gaza, but the carriers are there in case Iran steps in. And I'll be honest with you, I truly believe there's many in our American administration who are chomping at the bit to take care of Iran, because Iran has been a thorn in our side for the longest time, even though there's a lot of people like Biden that cozy up to Iran, which, don't get me started on it, don't get me started again. Okay, so if Iran is brought into this, which it very well could, because we've already seen Hezbollah in Lebanon firing rockets and such into, and there was actually an aircraft that went across the border as well. It stopped, thank goodness. But if that continues, we are certainly seeing more countries joining into this, which very well could include Egypt, which has already been a killing of a couple of Israelis in Egypt because of this, not to mention Syria and Afghanistan. Of course, they have a lot of our weapons and such, and Iran. I mean, Iraq and Saudi Arabia, that's always a possibility too. Probably not with United Arab Emirates because they're more into commercial now. But Iran is something we need to look at because, I mean, there are indications. People said that they are nuclear, even though we haven't had any confirmation that they truly are. But either way, they truly want to destroy Israel. So play this little game. Go ahead and let's look and play the game of what's going to happen next. And I'm going to go ahead and say what if into what if Iran attacks? What happens if Iran now becomes an actual direct player? If that's the case, United States absolutely is involved and will send these jets into Iran to start doing missions to take out their infrastructure. Okay? Think that's okay? It's not. I mean, it's not saying it's okay for America, but the implications of this it makes it far worse. The reason being is BRICS. Even though BRICS was actually established as a monetary conglomerate between Iran and Russia and South Africa and Brazil, etc., there is military attached to this and interest of Russia. And Russia, of course, is still completely angry more than anything else about us sending so many weapons to Ukraine that if Iran gets attacked, this is stepping it up for Russia as well. Russia is going to step up the game. Russia is going to send more armament to its ally, Iran. Iran's already been sending drones to Russia to actually help in the war. And so if this happens, Russia's getting involved. See how we're heading into World War III very quickly? And if Russia gets involved, you can pretty much guarantee China's getting involved as well. Not only in this attack and in this war that we're developing, but Taiwan too. Because, I mean, think of it this way. I could see things heading in this direction, even though we've really stretched way out as far as the direction it could go. Right now, Israel is sending so many forces into southern Israel around Gaza. We've had 300,000 reservists either called up or volunteered to join. We've had planes full of Israelis that were IDF are now coming back in to help out. And they're amassing a ridiculous number of troops and tanks and APCs on the southern border into Gaza. The northern border, I'm not going to say it's exposed. Obviously, it's not. But the majority of the troops are being sent to the southern border. Lebanon and Iran coming through Lebanon, perhaps through Hezbollah, could easily start infiltrating through that northern border. This is not just mere speculation. This is statistical calculations in possibly looking at what may happen next. And literally, in a matter of days, we could go from Israel being attacked to World War III, full all-out World War III taking place. Understand, I've said it before, Biden has no interest in Israel. In fact, they've been cozying up with Iran. But I believe Biden, along with the puppeteers, and again, I'm not picking on just one side of the aisle, both are to blame, could easily be put into a situation launching us into World War III, and guess who wins at World War III? Not us and the people, not us pawns, not your sons and daughters being drafted, but the elites, because now it's more world control, world domination, and you know what? World War IIIs, any world wars, are big money. There are companies that make a lot of money from this. We're already heading in that direction, but the thing about all this, and keep this as our last note, we're not only heading in that direction, but suddenly now we're heading into that direction very quickly. So hopefully you keep watching the news. I will continue to make live videos if we have some major things happening. And let's keep prepping, keep stockpiling, because things are coming very quickly. And unfortunately, the end that I see is terrible for all of us. Thank you very much for watching.